Hi, and welcome to another episode of Makin'Things. Today, I'll show you how to make bacon jerky and then candy it in two different methods to end up with cold-soaked candied jerky or hot-soaked candied bacon jerky. For more details, you can check out my Instructables, as always.
Right.
So what we're going to need is a big bowl for cold water, our bacon, which I'm currently soaking, make it a little less salty, the dehydrator, some parchment paper, and maple syrup. Now that it's been soaking for a while, I'm going to empty it out and put some warm water, nothing too hot, about 60 degrees Celsius, 140, 150 Fahrenheit, I think, just to get a bit of the fat off, because we're actually going to be dehydrating this fat and all. So there's already going to be more than enough, so just to get it a little bit cleaner so it'll dehydrate a bit faster, because fat takes a lot longer than meat to dehydrate, and we do have to go by the slowest piece. If the fat remains humid and we take it out and try to store it like we would jerky, it's going to go rancid. So really, just rinsing it with warm water is just to get it out of off the surface, just reduce it a little bit, but we don't want to cook it. And the reason for that is that I want to keep it whole. It's going to dehydrate as it is, and when we soak it in the maple syrup to rehydrate it before we dehydrate it again to make it into candied bacon, it's just going to work a lot better if it wasn't pre-cooked. You'll also notice that this is really thin bacon. I normally buy from my butcher a higher quality than this, but for dehydrating, the thinner the better, really, because you're going to get more surface area being touched by hot air. So I'm just going to set the bacon out on the sheets. It doesn't have the same oily feel now that I've rinsed it with hot water. And now we wait. Well, it's been 12 hours. So far, going with the thinner bacon has been a great success. This is pretty much ready, but I have to go to work. So it's definitely going to be good to go tonight when I get home. Alright, so it's been just about 24 hours, and they were pretty much ready this morning when I left. I just didn't have time. But what we're left now with is essentially jerky. If you stop now, what you've got is bacon jerky. Normally you would have added some sort of flavoring, but you know, bacon's already smoked, so if you had any other type of meat, it would have been marinated beforehand. Now, even though this is dehydrated, there is going to be some oil on the surface. It won't be as dry as regular jerky, but it is delicious. A little bit on the bland side. That's because we're not done. Now what we're going to do is flavor it with maple syrup. Of course, you can use any type of other thing you want for candying. You can use molasses, just brown sugar and water, anything really. Or you could have just dipped it in brown sugar before the whole process started. But what I like to do is I'm going to soak it in the maple syrup to rehydrate it, and then I will dehydrate it again so that all of the water that left this will be replaced with maple syrup, and then all the water is going to evaporate once again, and it'll be infused with maple syrup really through and through. I mean, you can't infuse it more than that. Alternatively, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm also going to not just soak some of it, but some of it I'm actually going to put in warm maple syrup, and that's going to make a big difference because most of the fat will melt away. So I'm going to have to take some of the meatier pieces because this bacon is so cheap. But what it'll do is it'll make it quite a bit less fatty, and it's also going to change the texture. It's going to give it a bit more of the texture of a cooked bacon than a jerky per se, even though we are going to re-dehydrate it after the fact. So we've got the bag full of bacon, jerky, and maple syrup, and I removed as much of the air as I could, just because I don't want to have to actually fill, a bucket with maple syrup or anything of the sort. I just want there to be a good contact. So, maybe having a vacuum sealer would be a good thing for this. And I'm going to take the rest of this and I'm going to simmer it in what's left of the maple syrup. So the simmering is quite a bit faster, but you can see now it looks pretty much like regular cooked bacon, except that it's burning my fingers. Actually, no, regular cooked bacon does that too. We're going to put it back in the dehydrator, and obviously dehydrate it again. So it's been another 12 hours, and the hot soaked candied bacon is now ready. Oh my god, this is good. Oh, so sweet. Candy. Now we can tell that the cold rehydration, the cold soaking has worked, because the fat took back its milky white color rather than the clear white color. So we're just going to put it back out and dehydrate it again. And there it is. The fully dehydrated, candied, jerky bacon. If you want to know more, check out my Instructables. If this was helpful to you, please like, subscribe. Have a good day.